All right, man. I think Allen Robinson retired. That's been making the media rounds. I don't know if y'all know he's a Detroit native or Metro Detroit native. Former Lions wideout says team wins Super Bowl healthy. Allen Robinson discussed Detroit Lions shocking loss to the Commanders. Okay, so it says former NFL wide receiver Allen Robinson believes Detroit Lions would have definitely achieved lofty goals in 2024 if injuries did not completely derail their season. Appearing on the heavyweights show this week, that's on Woodward Sports, the talented wideout shared his thoughts while the team was upset by the Washington Commanders from his perspective. To me, it felt like based on injuries. It felt like we were a team. Our grip slipped off a cliff, and that's what it felt like. Robinson said, as we were getting injured, and more people were getting injured, it was like we were just kind of losing the grip. As far as personnel wise, a healthy team. A lot of people say this, but I think last year as a healthy Detroit team went to Super Bowl. That's easy to say sometimes, but as well as when you get into those playoff games situations when you're playing Jaden Daniels, you need everybody healthy. And yes, and they struggle with mobile quarterbacks with and without Jaden Daniels. We all are aware of that. They struggle with and without him with mobile quarterbacks, healthy. Um, so yeah, so that is a thing. So I mean, everybody felt that. But really, nobody's really using that as an excuse. When I was bringing it up, and I would tell people like they're not about to win the Super Bowl when they had all these guys injured. People say, "Shut up, you're hating." And like I said, people don't like the truth. People want to live in blissful lives. And once you learn that about in the internet, that's one thing that's an accurate depiction about life. Everybody wants to live in a happy life. The majority of people don't want to live in a reality. Most of the people would love just to continue to live in the matrix and think the shit is real. So that's why the truth isn't popular. That's why people say, "Oh, you're hating or you're not a real fan." People don't like the truth. People are okay if their wife or their husband is cheating, as long as they don't hear about it. As long as they don't get embarrassed about it. That's it. People love to live like everything is okay and we're happy amongst each other. And, you know, and I told people when you got that many injuries, you're not going to win the Super Bowl, especially as durable as Philadelphia was. And injuries have been a huge issue for the Detroit Lions. For people who didn't know that, that second year, had they not had a bunch of injuries coming into that second year, Pascal was injured. Anzarike, he went on, remember he when he was gone that second whole season after his back injury. And then you had a Minnesota game where we was beating Minnesota and they came back, and I believe some more people went down. I can't remember who all went down in that Minnesota game. So they came into the season injured and they just continued to get injured. And as they got healthy in the middle of that season, dropping to Buffalo, because Badgley couldn't make a fucking kick. And that turned the tide in that game, and then dropping to the Panthers because they couldn't stop the run. That derailed their season. They started off like 1-8 or 1-6 or something like that season, 1-5. And it wasn't because they wasn't a playoff team. They were a playoff team that year. They were. They just injured. He just put an emphasis on drafting injured players. And then we found out later on, he had a car accident, and that makes him, kind of like, sympathize with guys that's injured. No, we don't need that. We need durability. We need durability, brother. you know you know so but yeah, a lot of people, they want to just hope, and it wasn't no hope. When you suffer 20 people going IR, and you get into, really, it's the time of the year is attrition. It's attrition. Everybody beat up and already hurt, and you down to picking people off the streets. It's only so far coach and go. So I get it. A lot of people just wanted the hope to be true. When you suffer that many injuries, and anybody know anything about the sport, no. Is it a valid excuse? Yes. He said, at the end of the day, if we had Hutch healthy, if we had some of the other players in the secondary healthy, we had CD, Carlton Davis, he was hurt, and some of our other linebackers, Lee McNeil was hurt for us. We're just playing against those caliber players that deep into the playoffs. You need everybody. Granted, we had a team that had great depth, and I think that our depth held their own throughout the course of the year. When you get into the playoff, injuries have a big impact, and that's a fact. That's a fact. And that's not making excuses. That's just what it is. Now, would they have won the Super Bowl? Nobody knows. Anything can happen in the playoffs. Anything can happen in the playoffs, but we wasn't winning it, and we all knew it. And then when you play Washington and people talking about, they're a 9-point favorite, 8.5-point favorite, I said, shit, that's a dangerous game because you down guys and you struggle against mobile quarterbacks. And then, in these situations, which nobody like to say the quiet part out loud, once again, I got to be the guy. When Ben Johnson got into those situations, he always tried to outsmart himself. In the NFC Championship game versus San Francisco, a lot of the onus, it fell on Dan. It fell on Dan. A lot of that onus fell on Dan. Don't forget it. A lot of that onus fell on Dan. It fell on them, but then you got a hurt team. You playing the worst rush defense in the league, versus one of the best run offenses in the league, and he sits there and throws the ball on third and short. I mean, make it make sense. Ben Johnson got a lot of questions to answer in Chicago about leading a team, and these are natural, but also situational football. I think he's one of those guys that's too smart for his own good. And he played a huge role in them not making the Super Bowl with the 49ers and them losing to the Commanders. And I said it. But hey, check out Detroit Lions Talk playlist. Thumbs up the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. The subscribe button is the bell icon button. Hit all notifications. Increase your chance to get notifications. We go live or drop video. Financially, want to support the channel. Cash App, $, CJ Good 313. Venmo, CJ Good 313. PayPal link description. Hit the link in the description. You can find me everywhere. That link tree. Peace.